Greetings, YouTube. The doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Marvel Contest of Champions. And we have our 6th rank 4 7-star. Here he is, Count Nefaria. We're going to talk about Count Nefaria. We're going to go over his kit, what he's good for, what he's not really good for. He is an amazing champ, but there are some instances where he may not be the most appropriate. And then we're going to go over 4 standard fights with him. First one, of course, is going to be the standard Realm of Legends Winter Soldier for how fast he can take him out, or what I call the Winter Soldier Index. Then we're going to take him up against a regen champ or a super regen champ, which is going to be the Realm of Legends Wolverine. Then we're going to take him up against a Mystic, which is going to be a Dragon Man that is coming from Act 8. And lastly, we're going to take him up against a Power Gain champ, which is going to be Hyperion. And that champ is going to be also in Act 8. All right, so those are the things that we're going to do, so stay tuned. All right, before we begin and we go over Count Nefaria's kit, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or a comment. Don't forget to share this video, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Here we've got Count Nefaria. I'm going to be looking over to the right side because I have all this on another screen so I can read it. But this is his kit. This is Khonshu's Ankh, if you don't know that. Very good website that has explanations for a lot of the champions. I particularly like this one because it does get updated pretty regularly, and it does include all the synergies. So there are touch points that Count Nefaria has with champions that are in his kit if you look at them in game, but there are touch point other champions have with him that are not in game. So let's take a look at his kit and his big shticks. And when I say shticks, I mean things that he does well. So first off, Count Nefaria's body is composed of ionic energy, so he is immune to power steal and bleeds. And he's 90% resistant to shock and incinerates. So that is very important because, let me repeat that, that's important because those debuffs stay on. He takes virtually no damage from them, and if you have willpower on, it will trigger willpower, and he will heal over time because of those. So that is a very good thing. So whenever the opponent fills a bar of power, they gain 15 stored energy. Every 1% of the opponent's max health or power they would gain from a buff or passive, they gain 2 stored energy. That is unaffected by reduced regeneration or ability power rates. Every 10 stored energy is automatically converted into an energy buildup debuff. That is a debuff. And it's really important to understand that that is a debuff, and it will cause multiple debuffs to pop up. And those debuffs will, if you have despair, and I always have it up to rank 3, if you have despair on it, will reverse healing on those champions. Now, none of that stuff does anything. That stored energy and the energy buildup debuffs do nothing other than they act as a debuff. It's when you start absorbing them off of the opponent that things happen. Okay, so let's keep going. So on a well-timed block, and the final hit of a special with or just after a well-timed block, he has a 100% chance to evade, and that goes into cooldown. So that has a cooldown of 11 seconds. So it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen a lot of the time. When evading, Count Nefaria counterattacks on hits that deal a burst of energy damage and 2 energy bits. So you could technically evade if you had a special going, you could hit the special right away. If the opponent's special attack is punished after evading, inflict 2,750 energy vulnerability. That doesn't happen very often. Now, you gain 10 ionic charges when performing a well-timed block. So he starts with 0. Okay, 0. And then he'll get 10 when he does a well-timed block. Lose 20 if he's inflicted with a bleed effect while fighting a non-mystic champion. Ionic charges grant 9,356 attack rating, maxing out at 100 charges. That's not per charge. I think if he just has them, he gets that bonus. They also grant physical and energy resistance and 90% degen resistance. Again, that's important that it's resistance and not immunity because of willpower. maxing out at 100 charges. If he goes into ionic overcharge, so at 100 charges, he goes into ionic overcharge for 17 seconds, and it's paused during his special attacks, and then he loses 100 charges when it expires. So if he's got 200 charges, he'll go down to 100, and he'll still be in ionic overcharge. During the ionic overcharge, all of his attacks are non-contact and deal energy. Additionally, the opponent's regeneration, this is a big one, the opponent's regeneration and ability power rates are reduced by 95%, and when they gain ability power, he gains 60% of the power denied this way. So if I'm in ionic overcharge and I hit them and they gain power, I get power too. If I'm in ionic overcharge and they try to regenerate, it's reduced. Okay, this is the big one. Special attack. The first hit of any special attack deals burst of energy damage. If it is the first or second after Count Nefaria's counterattack, that doesn't always happen. Special 1. The final 4 hits each devour 2 energy buildups. Remember we talked about energy buildups way up here. Energy buildup debuffs. They convert 2 energy buildup debuffs. This, and they get devoured, and each devoured one grants 16 ionic charges. This is where you're going to get most of your ionic charges, and this is what you want, because you want to get into ionic overcharge. Each devoured energy buildup grants 16 ionic overcharges, 2% of missing health, so he does heal, and 9% of a bar of power. So if they have a lot of these energy buildups, it can really build him up. So you want to get him into ionic overcharge, and then you want to hit a special 2 is really what it comes down to. So when he does a special 2, he gets a 1,020 fury per 10 ionic charges. So that's a 10,000. That's 10 of these essentially at 100. Each lasting 16 seconds, mass attack of 15. It's easy to get 15 of these. The final hit inflicts an incinerate debuff that does 11,000 damage over 6 seconds. Against Mystic Champions, this is a plasma, because there are some Mystic Champions that are immune to that. And then I don't really use the special 3, so we're not going to talk about it. Now, his awakened ability is important as well. So during ionic overcharge, passively regenerate 10 to 80% of the health denied to the opponent due to any reduced regeneration. Remember, if we're in ionic overcharge and they're regenerating, then their regeneration is reduced by 95%, and we suck all that off because we're awakened. And right now, I think this is like 65%. Each tick of this healing cannot exceed 256. When the opponent gains 100% to 20% of a bar of power from a passive or buff within half a second, instantly gain 50 ionic charges, then activate ionic overcharge. So if they've got a power gain, then we're going. And then this also triggers when they gain 20 to 8% of their max health for any reason within 5 seconds. So again, if they gain a bunch of power within a half a second, we're going to get a bunch of ionic overcharges. Then we're going to go into special 1 to convert those over, to devour all that stuff and convert those over. And then we're going to go into the special 2. All right, let's get into our first fight here, which is going to be against Winter Soldier in Realm of Legends. Okay, so here's our first fight, Winter Soldier. This is the team I'm going to use, which is Iron Man, Professor X, Thor, and Baron Zemo. Now, very importantly, I would not probably tour around with this team. Maybe putting Baron Zemo on, maybe not. But the reason I've got those on there is because of the synergy. So 1, Iron Man, whenever an energy buildup is inflicted, also inflict a 15% decelerate, which stops evades and should stop a lot of other things too, but mainly it's for evade. So that's a good thing too, and that's not always going to be in effect, but it is there. The second thing we're going to have is we're going to have Baron Zemo on here, and at the start of the fight, start of each fight, activate Ionic Overcharge for 50% of his normal duration. No Ionic charges are lost, so we just go into Ionic Overcharge immediately, and then we get the benefits of that. And finally, we've got Thor and Professor X, which give us a bump to our crit rating. Okay, so let's get into it. That's why I'm using those champs. And we are going to be going from a special 1 to a special 2. And then we're just going to rinse and repeat after that. And this is a pretty standard fight. So we're going to evade first. So instead of doing a well-timed block, we evade. And then you notice we're in ionic overcharge. So we already got some ionic charges. And now we're going to pump. So we're up to 100 now. And we did parry one of those. And we're going to keep going. Okay, now we're going to the special 2. There's a bunch of damage there. And we got that. And he is melting. Wow, that was fast. That was 37 seconds. That was really fast. But you got to follow that. You have to be able to be in ionic overcharge when you hit that that special 2. But that was pretty fast. All right, let's go to the fight with Wolverine now. Okay, now we're going to take on the fight with Wolverine, and currently my Count Nefaria has 51,000, I'm sorry, he's got 615 out of 91,000 health. That is important to notice because I am probably going to end up with more health out of this fight than what I started with because of the ability to reverse this regeneration and then to kind of suck it off of Wolverine. He's going to siphon it all off and bring it back towards Count Nefaria. So let's get into it, and you'll see this as we go in. And we are going to start on Ionic Charge, which means if he gets a regen, which he just did, you can see my health is already starting to go up. And he's just getting plastered right now. So he's got those ones coming off of him now. And you can see those energy buildups just going up because he's regenerating, but he's not regenerating. And that's it. I mean, see how fast, and I'm at 76% health. We started out at like 44, and now we're at 76%. And that fight was incredibly fast. You saw he basically had regens. He was getting no regen at all. So his regen was reduced by 95%, and the 95% that I denied him, I siphoned off and got. So that is that fight. So let's go now to our first fight outside of Realm of Legends, which is going to be against a Dragon Man in Act 8. Okay, next fight is going to be against Dragon Man, and this is in Act 8, Chapter 1, Quest 4, and he is right off the path. We're going to be using the same exact group as we did before. This Dragon Man is right down the path. It's pretty straightforward. He's going to get some prowesses, don't care. Each time we knock him down while they're suffering from a power sting, a slow, or weakness, we're not doing any of that stuff. We don't care. He gets a prowess puncture, which we don't care. Erudite ruse, we don't care about that. And then he gets this rise to power. When the defender is knocked down, a 4-second timer starts while active. Each time the defender lands a hit or strikes into the block, they gain 30% of a bar of power. So we are going to knock him down so we can do that because we want him to try and gain power. But we're going to deny that power. And he has a power gain anyway, and that is going to help with this buildup. So we're going to do the well-timed block first, which is going to turn into the evade. There it is. And then we're just going to go. All right. And we don't want him to get too far here. So he didn't really gain that much power out of that. Oh, we didn't get it. Okay, we blocked it at the right time here. So we want to keep going here. Okay, we get the evade. We want him to use his... Okay, we want him to use his special too. Come on. There he goes. And remember, we've got Incinerate. Okay, we're going to do this because we're going to go up to 180 now. And now we're going to blast him. And now he's melting. Melting pretty heftily. And we're in Ionic Overcharge, so he's not really gaining anything at this point. And we're going to hit him with this. And we're going to hit him with this. And we're going to hit him with that. And then that's it, basically. Very quick, very fast. He was getting a lot of power. We were getting a lot. And those, that turns into those energy buildups. We were denying him power from all of that. So very, very good. All right, the next fight is going to be against Hyperion, also in Act 8, so we can demonstrate how he works against somebody who has a really good power gain. Okay, the next fight is against Hyperion, and it is going to be in Act 8, Chapter 3, Quest 6. Same team. And this Hyperion is right up here, so we're going to go to the path. Hyperion, even though he's not a mystic, he is a cosmic, he does get a ton of power gain. Now, he's got some stuff on him that we do have to watch out for. He's got Eldritch Scar. We're not a mystic champion, so that doesn't matter. He's going to get a bunch of Furies. He could get an unblockable for 2 seconds, so we do have to watch for that. But our evade actually comes into effect with that. He's got parry vulnerability. We are going to be doing that. And then while far away, the defender's Fury unblockable, true damage, and power gains are paused. So here we go. And we're essentially going to do the same thing. We're going to do the evade, the parry evade right there. And then we're going to go up to a special one. All right, I want this guy to use his, that's what I want him to do. All right, we're going to hit him with this. And see, we went up to 100 already. And we're just basically sucking power off him now. And we're going to hit him with this. And he's at 28 of those build-ups, which is going to put me at 266. And you see my power keeps going up and up and up. And we're going to hit him with this. And he is basically done at this point. Very easy fight. And the energy build-ups, the power build-up turned into the energy build-up, and they just kept going and going and going. And as long as I was in Ionic Overcharge, I was denying him ability power rate and his power gain, and it was just coming over to my side the whole time. All right, that is the video I have for everybody today. I hope everybody enjoyed, and I will catch everybody later.